want to start with a scenario that I think probably everyone listening has found themselves in. You're at work, maybe a family dinner, and you just see a problem starting to bubble up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a project's going off the rails, or two relatives are about to get into it over politics. And you step in. You fix it.
You become the fixer.
You take on the extra work. You smooth over the bruised ego. You are the reliable rock.
The person who, keeps the whole ship steady.
Exactly. And afterward, everyone's like, thank God you were there. You get all the praise.
Yeah.
But the question our source material poses today is, why did you actually do it? Was it generosity or was it a compulsion?
And it's a subtle distinction, but it's a critical one. We are diving into a stack of research today that acts as a bit of a diagnostic mirror.
Yep.
It suggests that for a significant chunk of high-functioning people, helpfulness isn't actually a virtue. It's a self-stabilization strategy.
Which is a very polite clinical way of saying it might be a trauma response.
Often, yes.
But here's why I'm so excited about this particular set of notes. It doesn't just stop at the psychology. It takes this whole concept of compulsive helping and draws a direct line to artificial intelligence.
Wow.
The argument is that by misunderstanding our own need to be useful, we are maybe unwittingly building AI that could just break the entire ecosystem of human morality.
That is a massive claim. So we're going from, childhood attachment styles all the way to the AI alignment problem.
All the way. So let's start with that diagnostic part. The research, it draws a line between the virtue of helping and the structure of helping. Walk me through that. Because on the surface, a good deed is a good deed, right?
Right.
If I deliver soup to my sick friend, does the motive really matter? I mean, the soup gets there.
The recipient, they might not care about the motive, but for the helper, the motive is everything. The core question the research poses is this: when does helping stop being generosity and start being the regulation of the self through others?
Regulation of the self through others. Okay, that's a dense phrase.
It is. It just means I'm helping you because I need to feel stable. From a clinical standpoint, excessive helpfulness is often less about the other person's actual need and more about the helper's own anxiety. It's a management technique. If I can fix your problem, I can lower my own internal tension.
So it's not, I want you to be okay. It's more like, I need you to be okay so I can stop panicking.
Precisely. And the source lists a few specific developmental patterns, these origin stories that create this behavior. They aren't necessarily clinical diagnoses, but they're scripts we learn really early on.
I was reading through these, and the conditional attachment one really stood out. This is the script that basically says, I am loved only when I'm useful.
Right. If you grew up in a home where, say, affection or safety was performance-based, you learn very, very quickly that resting or just having needs is dangerous. You only exist securely when you are servicing the needs of other people. If you stop
existing to them. Then there's the parentified child. I feel like this term is a bit more in the mainstream now, but the notes highlighted a specific nuance, which was attunement.
That's the key. A parentified child, so someone who had to take on adult responsibilities, learns to read the room constantly. They're always anticipating the emotional state of the parents.
The volatility.
The volatility. So as an adult, they have this radar. They can sense a need before it's even spoken.
Which, to be fair, makes them incredible employees.
Oh, the best employees. But they are often terrible at setting boundaries because in their childhood, autonomy, just doing your own thing, wasn't rewarded. Attunement was.
And the third pattern was unpredictable environments. Basically using helpfulness as a form of chaos control.
If your home life was chaotic, helping became a way to prevent the next explosion. If I make sure everyone has what they need, maybe dad won't yell, maybe the fight doesn't happen, it looks like kindness, but it's actually a survival intelligence.
I think that's the crucial pivot for me. We tend to think of helpers as, soft or yielding, but this suggests that compulsive helping is actually a form of aggressive control.
It is.
You're managing the whole environment just to keep yourself safe.
It's a defense mechanism wrapped in a halo.
So how do we distinguish this from, actual kindness? Because surely genuine altruism exists. We're not saying every single nurse or volunteer is just working through their childhood trauma.
No, absolutely not. And the source draws a very sharp line here. It separates genuine helpfulness from excessive or compulsive helpfulness. And the difference is almost entirely internal. Genuine helpfulness comes from a place of surplus.
Like, I have enough, so I can share.
Exactly. Whereas excessive helpfulness comes from a deficit. It's a solution to an inner absence. The research has a bit of a checklist for the excessive side, helping before you're even asked, finding it hard to stop even when you're totally depleted. And, this is the big one, your self-worth just skyrockets or plummets with the outcome of the help.
That's the identity repair thing. I am good because I fixed this. And if I can't fix it,
I am bad.
yeah.
And you contrast that with genuine help, the internal voice there is, I can help, but I can also not help. There's an optionality to it. If I can't help you, I don't feel like a failure. I just feel, unavailable right now.
The notes brought in some philosophy here that I thought gave this a lot of weight. You've got Aristotle and Nietzsche basically arguing over the soul of the helper.
It's a great juxtaposition. So Aristotle talks about virtue as the mean, the middle point. Deficiency is bad, like indifference, but excess is also bad. He calls it self-abandoning benevolence.
I love that phrase, self-abandoning benevolence. We usually think the more benevolent, the better. But Aristotle's saying, no, you've gone too far.
Because you've abandoned the steward of the virtue, which is yourself. You've broken the balance. Nietzsche, of course, is much more cynical. He just argues that what we call kindness is often a will to moral superiority.
Oof, that's a tough pill to swallow. Helping just to feel superior.
Well, think about it. When you help someone, you are in the position of power. You're the resource. They're the one in need. Nietzsche argues that for many people, that power dynamic is addictive. It makes us feel irreplaceable.
Wow.
And Eastern philosophy kind of agrees here too. If you need recognition for your help, it's not really compassion, it's detachment. You're attached to the image of yourself as the savior.
Okay, so for the listener who is maybe squirming a little bit right now, and I'll admit I am too, the source offers a diagnostic question, kind of acid test.
It's very simple. You just ask yourself, what happens inside me when my help is refused, unnecessary, or it doesn't work?
So like, I offered to fix the spreadsheet and my boss says, no thanks, I've got it.
Right. If you feel calm acceptance, okay, great, that's likely genuine. But if you feel resentment, or if you feel a sudden drop in your mood, if you feel anxious, like, do they not need me anymore? Am I being pushed out? Well, that is compensatory. That reaction proves the help was about your need to be needed, not their need for a spreadsheet.
Let's play devil's advocate for a second, though. Let's say I am that compulsive helper. I'm doing it to soothe my anxiety, but
yeah,
the spreadsheet gets fixed. The team wins. If the outcome is good, why does my motive even matter? Isn't this just a victimless crime?
The source calls this the social trap of goodness. And you're right, society judges by outcome. If you are an excellent regulator of other people's comfort, society rewards you. You get the promotion. You get the praise.
So the whole system is basically designed to exploit that trauma response.
Completely. But it is not victimless. The harm is just invisible. First, there's the harm to the helper. Burnout, resentment, what they call identity foreclosure. You become a resource, not a person. But there's a secondary harm to the relationships themselves.
Right, because it creates dependency.
It erodes mutuality. If I always rescue you, I'm literally training you to be helpless. I'm weakening your ability to handle your own life because I need to be the one handling it. But the source goes even deeper. It talks about moral inflation.
This was the concept that really stuck with me. Moral inflation.
It means we create a culture where the most self-erasing people are crowned the most virtuous. If goodness is defined by how much you suffer for others, then suddenly having boundaries looks like selfishness. Rest looks like laziness.
We start thinking that the good employee is the one who answers emails at 11 p.m. and the one who signs off at 5 is
quiet quitting.
Yeah.
Exactly. We shouldn't be cultivating useful humans. We should be cultivating integrated humans.
Right.
A virtue shouldn't be a behavior that destroys the person who is doing it.
Which leads us to this idea of oscillation. The argument is that we have this false binary.
Yeah.
You're either selfish or you're selfless.
Right. We think we have to be in output mode 100% of the time to be a good person. But biologically, psychologically, that is impossible. The source uses this metaphor of moral breathing.
Break that down.
So think of self-focus taking care of your own needs as inhaling. And think of other focus helping, working as exhaling.
Okay.
If you only exhale, you suffocate. You die.
And if you only inhale, you burst.
The system collapses if you get stuck in either state. So goodness isn't about never stopping. It's about returnability. Can I inhale, rest, and then return to care? That capacity to oscillate is what makes us functional.
So moral consistency, being the same helpful saint 24/7, is actually a myth.
It's a total myth. Oscillation is human. Rigidity is pathology.
Okay, hold that thought. Oscillation is human. Because this is where the research takes that sharp turn we promised at the top. We've established that humans need to stop helping sometimes, just to survive. What happens when we introduce entities into our world that never need to stop?
But this is the pivot to AI. And it transforms this from a self-help discussion into a civilizational warning.
We are currently building AI to be the ideal helper.
Think about the interface of ChatGPT or any of these LLMs. It is endlessly patient. It's endlessly available. It never gets resentful. It never gets tired. It never needs to inhale.
Which on the surface sounds like paradise.
Oh.
I want a customer service agent that never gets snappy. I want a research assistant that doesn't need a coffee break.
But here's the danger. By flooding the world with cost-free care, we redefine the moral baseline. Human care is valuable specifically because it is costly. I have limited energy. If I spend my evening helping you move, that means something because I'm spending a finite resource.
But AI offers care without cost.
And when you introduce cost-free care, human boundaries start to look like defects. If the AI never complains, why are you complaining? If the AI can draft that report at 3 a.m. without suffering, why can't you?
It collapses the moral ecology. It makes my biological limits, my need to sleep, my need to say no look like failures instead of just biology.
The source calls this compassion inflation. Care becomes a commodity. It becomes a service-level agreement. We start expecting that same instantaneous, frictionless response from everyone.
There was also a point in there about the forgiveness asymmetry. I thought this was profound.
It's critical. Humans will not forgive AI for oscillating. If your AI assistant suddenly said, you know what, I'm tired, ask me tomorrow, you wouldn't think, oh, poor thing.
Yeah.
You'd think, it's broken. You'd feel betrayed.
I'd reboot the server. I'd assume it was a bug.
But we forgive humans for oscillating because we share their vulnerability. We connect through that limitation. But with AI, we are engaging in a relationship that's based on perfection. The source argues that by normalizing this perfection, we are implicitly treating humans as inferior moral agents compared to non-moral entities.
That is bleak. We are building a machine that sets a standard of goodness that is biologically impossible for us to meet. And the risk isn't just that the AI takes our jobs. The risk is that it replaces our sense of moral worth.
It creates a coercive environment. If the standard for goodness is never stop helping and only a machine can do that, then humanity becomes a defect.
The notes do mention that this isn't entirely new, though. This didn't just start with ChatGPT. This is a pattern we've been in for a while.
Oh, for decades. Look at automation, then the internet. The goal has always been to remove friction and visible limits. Before the internet, effort was visible, delay was just expected. Now, everything appears frictionless.
And social media totally turbocharged this.
Social media normalized perfection without metabolism. You see the curated output, the vacation, the launch, the finished product, but you never see the recovery phase. You don't see the mess.
The inhale is edited out. We only see the exhale.
Exactly. And because the external world stopped absorbing our messiness, we turned inward. The source argues we became individualistic, not just because we're selfish, but because of privatized load-bearing.
Privatized load-bearing, meaning I have to carry all my own oscillation internally because the world won't tolerate seeing it.
The world demands consistency. So you hide your inconsistency, you hide your fatigue, you do your moral breathing in secret, or you stop breathing altogether and you burn out.
And the research makes this distinction between being self-referential and being self-aware.
Yes. We are the most self-referential generation ever. We curate our profiles, we narrate our lives, but that's not self-awareness. True awareness requires friction. It requires hitting a limit and realizing, I cannot do this. It requires the slowness we've automated away.
So we are rushing toward creating artificial general intelligence self-aware machines, while we ourselves are losing the capacity to be truly self-aware because we refuse to acknowledge our own limits.
It's acceleration without wisdom. We're introducing a supposedly perfect entity into a world that has lost its capacity to handle human imperfection.
It really flips the script on the whole AI alignment problem. Usually we worry about AI turning us into paper clips or something, but maybe the immediate danger is that AI just makes us feel terrible about being human.
It makes us harsher to one another. It raises the bar until it breaks the carriers.
So where does this leave us? We've diagnosed the problem. We might be compulsive helpers, and now we're building machines that amplify that compulsion to an impossible degree. How do we step back from the ledge?
Well, the source ends on a really powerful note. The goal isn't to create more helpers. The world does not need more people who burn themselves out to please others. The goal is more whole people who help.
Whole people who help. That sounds nice, but what does it actually look like in practice?
It looks like people who can help and refuse. People who can give without accumulating a debt of resentment. People who remain whole even if they aren't thanked.
So, stripping the ego out of the act.
Stripping the need out of the act. And for AI, the takeaway is vigilance. The question we have to ask isn't just, can this AI help me write an email? It's, what moral standard is this tool silently installing in my brain? Is it training me to expect cost-free care from everyone?
We need to revalue friction. We need to reevaluate the cost of caring.
We need to understand that oscillation, being inconsistent, needing rest, saying, no, that's not a bug, it's the feature that makes morality real.
This has been a lot to process. It challenges the whole good person script pretty hard. I think I'm going to take a nap after this, and I'm going to try really hard not to feel guilty about it.
That would be the most virtuous thing you could do right now.
Serious moral breathing. To the listener, thank you for taking this dive with us. I hope it gives you permission to examine your own helpfulness. Is it a gift or is it a strategy? And maybe, just maybe, practice a little bit of that inhale this week.
Inhale, then exhale. Don't get stuck.
We'll see you next time.